We need Class 1 breeding heifers to be making their way to the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Bailey Malicote, tag 3814, Noah Borsman, tag 567, Brady Young, tag 593, and Noah Graham, tag 502. Please be making your way to the show arena. We will be lining up on the side across from the picture booth. Before we start our show, we would like to welcome our judge for tonight. His name is Clint Hall, along with his wife Kelly. They're owners of Long Haul Cattle in Hillsborough, Ohio, and Maysville, Kentucky. They're also managing partners of Frawley Farms Limousine Long Haul Cattle, are breeders of Charolais Limousine, Red Angus, and Hereford purebred seed stock. They also produce and sell a select number of elite show steers and crossbred heifers. Clint and Kelly merchandise their show cattle and breeding stock through private treaty, consignment sales, and online sales. Clint was raised on a purebred Charolais operation in southern Ohio and has spent his entire life actively breeding, raising, and promoting purebred cattle. In the past 40 years, he has served on several cattle boards and guidance committees, helping to promote beef cattle and agriculture. Clint has exhibited and sold champions at county, state, and national levels in the United States and Canada. He enjoys judging and brings his passion and experience for the cattle industry to the show ring. Clint realizes the value of life lessons, work ethic, and agricultural awareness showing cattle encourages. He has judged shows at the county, state, and national level throughout the United States. Please give him a round of applause. Entering the arena at this time is Class 1 breeding heifers. These exhibitors are Bailey Malico, breeder Little Ridge Acres, Noah Borsman, breeder Little Ridge Acres, Brady Young, breeder Young Cattle, and Noah Graham, breeder Denton Family Farms. We need Class 2 breeding heifers to be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Morgan Hall, tag 577, Caitlin Shingshang, tag 842, Eliza Smith, tag 589, Denton Walker, tag 469, Pierce Deflinger, tag 432, and Boone Burbage, tag 824. Please be making your way outside the show arena. We also need Class 3 breeding heifers to be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Ella Carler, tag 359, Braden Hazelbaker, tag 776, Jacob Foreman, tag 543, and Evelyn Hollander, tag 556. Please be getting ready in the barn.
So, that was loud enough to start with. How about, there we go. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Clermont Cattlemen for inviting me here today. You know, it's pretty cool because this is the county fair that I started at. It's a county fair that I started at a lot of years ago, and boy, it means a whole lot to me to be asked to come back. And we'll comment about that further later on. We get in this first class, and folks, when we pull them in, just go ahead and bring them over here as we work on through these classes. But young man with the black and white heifer, I think that's the one that wins the class pretty easily. I think when you get her on a side profile, the way she comes out of her shoulder just blends into her foreribs so nicely. She's the one of this group of heifers that's the best out to her hip. She's the lightest pinned. Her tail head sets in her the flattest. I just like that awfully well about this heifer. A red, dark red heifer, a heifer that's real massive, got a lot of natural product in her, really big topped. She's big hip. She's not quite as neat and comfortable when she gets out and goes. She's a little coarser in her forerib today. I think that'll get better as she goes on and matures. The young man's black heifer is one that I think is a very broody looking female. I like her center dimension of her rib. She's got a real maternal look to her. She doesn't have quite the neatness as you look at her right through her shoulder. I'd like to see her just a little neater down through her chest floor as she comes toward us. But that's a nice heifer. The young lady's a Highland heifer that completes the class. A real nice female. You like her in her lines and her design. She needs to be more flexible and more athletic as she gets out and goes to get her to compete higher. Nice class. Give that group of kids a good round of applause.
Entering the show arena at this time is Class 2 breeding heifers. These exhibitors are Morgan Hall, breeder Maple Ray, Caitlin Shishang, breeder Deborah Heron, Eliza Smith, breeder Chase Jarman Show Cattle, Denton Walker, breeder Bogey Green Acres, Pierce Stefflinger, breeder Maple Ray Farms, and Boone Burbage, breeder Mike Borchers. Congratulations, Class 1, first place, Noah Borsman, breeder Little Ridge Acres. Second place, Brady Young, breeder Young Cattle. Third place, Noah Graham, breeder Denton Family Farms. And fourth place, Bailey Malicote, breeder Little Ridge Acres. We need Class 3 breeding heifers to be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Ella Carler, tag 359, Braden Hazelbaker, tag 776, Jacob Foreman, tag 543, and Evelyn Hollander, tag 556. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Class 4 breeding heifers can be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Jack Wilson, tag 596, Pierce Stefflinger, tag 480, and Tanner Denton, tag 439. Please be getting ready in the barn.
really a nice class of heifers here in our second one, and I think a lot of differences in this class, and I think we got really quality all the way through with this group of cattle, and I think it gets a little bit difficult. You got to start sorting personal preferences and pieces in these cattle. The heifer that wins the class, though, to me is the most combination heifer. She's probably the most complete heifer of the two that we have left out here. I think she's a little bolder sprung about her shoulder, but that really doesn't bother me because she's so good in her forerib and she goes out through her top, really big-ended, and I like the way that her tail head sets down in her. She's actually a little wider penned when you get behind her and you start really studying that heifer. I just really appreciate that about her. Young man, I think you got a real brood cow looking one that's going to make a fantastic bred heifer. I think this is one that's going to be an awfully good cow down the road. I wish she was a little softer in her top. I wish she was a little softer in her tail head. You know, relative to the heifer that wins the class, she's not quite as stout-boned. She doesn't come off those rear two with quite as much authority, but that's an awfully good heifer in a good class. Young man's heifer that comes out third is a very unique heifer in terms of her length of side. She's really long-sided, she's long-hipped, really long-necked. But those things today really just don't quite tie together. She's a little greener in her condition. I think as time goes on, this heifer bellies down a little more. I think she's going to be more eye-appealing. She twists out of her front end just ever so slightly if you really start to studying her. So she has to be third in a really tough class. This brown-colored heifer is one that I really liked when I came in, when she walked into class, and I still like her. I think she's a good heifer. But you analyze her compared to those ones that beat her. She's not quite as neat over her top. She's certainly not as neat there as she comes out of the top part of her shoulder into her forerib and into her heart. Little later maturing heifer and our baldy heifer, but you know this heifer is super good in her lines. Extremely level hipped, extremely level topped. You know that heifer's got a lot of future in her. She's much like this heifer that completes a class. This one just to me is a little later maturing. She's going to need more time just to get bellied down, get a little more shape, get a little more power to her, and I think she'll do better down the road. Nice class. Give them a good round of applause if you would.
Entering the arena at this time is Class 3 breeding heifers. These exhibitors are Ella Collar, breeder CMA Farm, Braden Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres, Jacob Foreman, breeder Smith Family Show Cattle, and Evelyn Hollander, breeder Deborah Heron. Congratulations, Class 2, first place Eliza Smith, breeder Chase Jarman Show Cattle. Second place Boone Burbage, breeder Mike Borchers. Third place Walker Denton, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Fourth place Pierce Deflinger, breeder Maple Ray Farms. And fifth place Caitlin Shishang, breeder Deborah Heron. We need Class 4 breeding heifers to be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Jack Wilson, tag 596, Pierce Deflinger, tag 480, and Tanner Denton, tag 439. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Class 5 can be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Audrey Baston, tag 113, Lillian Lane, tag 550, Jenna Cox, tag 520, and Tate Tislin, tag 373. Please be getting ready in the barn.
not real sure what we had going on out here. I was starting to get dizzy watching them, but I do know this is a good class of heifers, and I think really a logical place to start here with the young man's heifer. I think, just in terms of her completeness and her balance and just her overall look, I think she comes to the top. I think you put these cattle in motion, and that's where she excels the other three. She's certainly better at the ground. If you look at her, she's got more cushion down low. She's got more flexibility to her back leg. She sets her back foot down much more appropriately than the heifer that's behind her. I just think that in terms of her completeness and her balance, I think she just comes to the top pretty handily. This young man's heifer that comes in second's a real broody looking one. She needs to be better at the ground. I think if you change her there, make her a little softer pasturing where she's got more flexibility, I think we like her quite a bit better. Young man does a nice job when he gets her stopped. I think she's got some really good parts. She's big top, got some belly, just needs to get softer made. This next heifer is really good on the standstill. You got to love the elegance that she has out of her shoulder. Her neck and her head are very refined and very feminine looking, and I appreciate that. But you add that with the heifer, she doesn't have quite the substance of bone. She doesn't have quite the power of those first two heifers. I like to level her out in her top and soften her up in her pen set as she gets out and goes and make her more attractive from an eye appeal standpoint. The heifer that completes the class is a big barreled, big broody kind of a female, not quite as deep out through her chest. She kind of wedges up as she goes to her flank. We need to just make her a little more balanced from end to end, and then she gets to compete a little higher. Good class. Give them a good round of applause.
Entering the show arena at this time is Class 4 breeding heifers. These exhibitors are Jack Wilson, breeder Hatfield Cattle, Pierce Stefflinger, breeder Maple Ray Farms, and Tanner Denton, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Congratulations, Class 3, first place, Jacob Foreman, breeder Smith Family Show Cattle. Second place, Braden Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Third place, Ella Collar, breeder CMA Farm. And fourth place, Evelyn Hollander, breeder Deborah Heron. Class 5 breeding heifers will be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Audrey Baston, tag 113, Lillian Lane, tag 550, Jenna Cox, tag 520, and Tate Tislin, tag 373. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Class 6 breeding heifers need to be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Ella Collar, breeder 450, Lillian Cyber, breeder 546, and Clint Dollemeyer, tag 549. Please be getting ready in the barn. Also, just a reminder, the Cattlemen's Association does have t-shirts for sale behind Woofer's trailer next to the picture backdrop.
Got an interesting class here. There's a lot of variations because we're showing these breeding heifers by weight, and so, that kind of just takes a whole different kind of performance out of the plan. But, I think when you start analyzing these cattle, for what they are, this white-faced heifer's just got a really cool look, and I'm a sucker for them to have a good look, but I think she's high quality also. I think she's obviously, in my mind, the most balanced, most complete one. When you look at her from her head to her tail, I mean, she's just very, very complete. She's maybe not quite as long-bodied as our white heifer that's going to be second, but I think she's just so complete. I think she gets out and moves really well, very, very athletic, and I think she wins the class pretty handily. Big broody one that comes out, the Charlet appearing heifer. I think there's lots of good things about this one. I think she's a real breeding piece. She's got some power. You know, with that, she's not quite as neat in her chest. She's not quite as neat when you get right behind or right in front of her and you study her down through her chest floor. She's just not quite as neat and designed out through her front end as well as the one that wins the class. But, you know, I like her power. I like her balance. I like her body. She just doesn't have quite the overall symmetry heifer that wins the class. The young man's heifer that comes in third's another, congratulations, a very nice heifer again, real long-sided, extremely long-hipped. This is the one, though, in this particular class, she needs more depth. She needs to just have more muscle shape from behind, especially down low, relative to those cattle that are above her. Good class of heifers. Give them a nice round of applause.
Entering the show arena at this time is Class 5 breeding heifers. These exhibitors are Aubrey Baston, breeder Fontaine Cattle Company; Lillian Lane, breeder Last Minute Show Cattle; Jenna Cox, breeder Mason Cox; and Tate Tislin, breeder Tislin Farms. We need Class 6 breeding heifers to be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Ella Collar, breeder 450, Lillian Seibert, breeder 546, and Clint Dollemeyer, breeder 549. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, Class 4. First place, Jack Wilson, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Second place, Tanner Denton, breeder Hatfield Cattle. And third place, Pierce Durflinger, breeder Maple Ray Farms.
get these little bigger, older heifers out here, and I think we got a good, again, a good class of heifers and some decisions to be made. I think for me it's a pretty handily, the young lady solid black heifer comes to the top. I think, again, we talk about cattle that just are balanced, very complete female. You analyze this one from her shoulder back. She's really, really good and powerful. She's got enough body, enough shape. She gets around the ring pretty good. She stands down on pretty good ground, and I like that. It's her bone work. Maybe pull her neck out just a little bit, slight, to make her even more desirable, but I think her neck's certainly good enough, comes out of the top part of her shoulder well enough. The next heifer here is one, I think this one's pushing a little bit the envelope in terms of her condition. I think if she weren't quite as heavy and quite as spongy today, we'd probably like her a little bit better. I wish she could get out and just track a little bit nicer and stay a little neater about her top and just get a little more flexible off of both ends, and I think maybe it's a little more tight on that top end. The next pair of heifers is a difficult one for me. I think the solid black heifer is the one that's going to be the easier keeping one. I think when you get this cattle out and you look at her out through her hip, you just like her added depth of body. I think she's just going to be an easier keeping, easier doing one. No doubt the longest sided one in the class is the young lady's heifer that completes this class, but I think if you follow this heifer from her chest floor back to her flank, she wants to run a little bit opposite of the way we'd like to see her made. I'd like to see her deeper in her flank. Those kind are hard to get a big body in when they're just that long-sided. Certainly got some things you like about her from the side. She needs to be freed up when you get behind her and watch her move. She gets really narrow-based. But a good heifer to complete a good class. Give them a good round of applause.
Entering the show arena at this time is Class 6 breeding heifers. These exhibitors are Ella Collar, breeder Osborne Farms, Lillian Cyber, breeder Maple Ray Farms, and Clint Dollemeyer, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Congratulations, Class 5. First place, Lillian Lane, breeder Last Minute Show Cattle. Second place, Tate Tislin, breeder Tislin Farms. Third place, Aubrey Baston, breeder Fontaine Cattle Company. And fourth place, Jenna Cox, breeder Mason Cox. We need all first place winners from classes 1 through 5 to be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Noah Bromson, breeder Little Ridge Acres, Eliza Smith, breeder Chase Jarman Show Cattle, Jacob Foreman, breeder Smith Family Show Cattle, Jack Wilson, breeder Hatfield Cattle, and Lillian Lane, breeder Last Minute Show Cattle. Please be making your way outside the show arena.
I think, again, this is a good class of heifers and a lot of differences, and that's where you kind of got to pick and choose here. A young man that we're going to use to win the class, from her shoulder back, she wins the class pretty easily, just in terms of her body, her depth, or just her shape out to her hip. She's the one of the 3 heifers that we have out here. When you get behind them and you study them right behind, she's the really, truly wider one of the cattle that we have out here in terms of her base width and in terms of her pen width. She really wins the class on that regard. She's not as neat fronted and not as neat chested as the heifer that comes in second, but I think there's just more in that heifer that's going to be down the road. She's going to be an easier one to keep. She's one that's just going to stay really good. I like her at the ground so much. Real long-bodied heifer here, and I think this heifer's got good days ahead. I think this young lady gets this one farther along in calf or gets her bred and she starts bellying down. She just needs more time, more depth of rib, more depth of flank. She is neat about her hip and out through her top, long-sided, and she does have the advantage in terms of her length of neck. She's not quite as good when you study her right coming at you. She wants to angle out just a little bit out of her shoulder, not quite as neat in her knee. Real broody looking female, and I applaud this young lady for a female that looks like she's going to milk. She's got a nice udder design, a heifer that's very feminine in her look. She just doesn't have the power and the mass to get up any higher today, but a really good class of heifers. Give those exhibitors a good round of applause.
Entering the show arena at this time is all first place winners from classes 1 through 6. These exhibitors are Class 1, Noah Bromson, breeder Little Ridge Acres. Class 2, Eliza Smith, breeder Chase Jarman Show Cattle. Class 3, Jacob Foreman, breeder Smith Family Show Cattle. Class 4, Jack Wilson, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Class 5, Lillian Lane, breeder Last Minute Show Cattle. And Class 6, Clint Dollemeyer, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Congratulations, Class 6. First place, Clint Dollemeyer, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Second place, Ella Collar, breeder Osborne Farms. And third place, Lillian Seibert, breeder Maple Ray Farms. All second place winners from classes 1 through 6 should be making their way outside the show arena. Clint Dollemeyer, you have 2 minutes to be making your way into the show arena. At this time, we would like to thank our reserve sponsors. These people and businesses are Chase Jarman Show Cattle, Creek View Farm, Feed Mill Restaurant, Maluk Tire Service, One Stop Signs, Kurt's Boots LLC, Taubey Family Farms, Tyler Perrin Show Cattle, Collier Farms, Merchants National Bank, Grace Valley Farm, Boot Country Work Country, Bogey Green, Klinger's Mini Mart, Select Sires Member Corporation, Emersville Coil and Feed, Hatfield Cattle, J. Smith Trucking LLC, Little Ridge Acres, Rolling Hills Veterinary Service, The Party Animal Express, Windy Ridge Acres, Todd Rudd for Recorder, and Woofer Farms Feed and Supply LLC. Please give our reserve sponsors a round of applause.
Well, we pick our top 5 here in our breeding heifer show. Please give these young folks and the breeders of these respective cattle a nice round of applause, if you would. It's a kind of an interesting deal when you do these breeding cattle by weight, But I think if you look at the cattle and you start studying them, even though they are by weight, relative to what we see, I think in their particular ages, I think we see a gradual increase just by kind of looking at their heads and the way they're made, and just their maturity at this time, I think fits in pretty well with what breeding cattle should look like. I think the heifers that we have out here, I find them to be cattle that still look like females. They're cattle that are structurally the best ones that we had available. They're cattle that have some shape and just some body, some doability and some dimension. I'm a sucker for them to look good. I mean, that's the thing. I guess I've been really fortunate to judge shows all over the country, and the one thing that I always try to do is have one that just looks very complete and very well balanced. I think, that it's then you start picking the other parts and pieces. Do they have enough bone? Are they good enough hipped? Are they good enough in their shoulder? Are they good enough structured? The main thing, though, in my world and Kelly's world is we've got to have cattle that are sound. They have to be able to go out and perform, and they have to be able to take big old steps, because we have a very versatile type of farming operation. We've got from the muddiest place in America to places that get dry and rocky, and so we have to have cattle that are good-footed, good-legged, and good-boned. And I think we have that out here in these particular classes. And I commend you folks that are breeding these, because that's something that sometimes you have a very hard time finding in a county born and bred show. So I commend you folks for doing an outstanding job in that. Our top 5 are maybe not going to fit together as jigsaw puzzles or just perfect pieces, but I think they're all going to be really good cattle. There's one that just kind of grabbed me in her class, and I think, I kept her in my mind, and as I watched these cattle come back out, just really hang on to that one. And then we're going to get you a top 5 and give them a minute to bring those seconds in. Again, please help me congratulate these young kids on a super good start to their fair. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jacob Foreman, Breeder Smith Family Show Cattle. We need Class 3 second place, Braden Hazelbaker, to be making his way inside the show arena. Class 3 third place, you can be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, Reserve Champion Breeding Heifer, Jack Wilson, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. We need Class 4 second place, Tanner Denton, to be making your way inside the show arena. We need Class 4 third place, Pierce Stefflinger, to be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, third overall breeding heifer, Eliza Smith, Breeder Chase Jarman Show Cattle. We need Class 2 second place, Boone Burbage, to be making your way inside the show arena. Congratulations, fourth overall breeding heifer, Lillian Lane, Breeder Last Minute Show Cattle. We need Class 5 second place, Tate Tislin, to be making your way inside the show arena. All other exhibitors may go back to their pens. Congratulations, 5th overall breeding heifer, Braden Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. We need Class 7 feeder heifers to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Jacob Foreman, tag 464, Tanner Denton, tag 597, Eli Jarman, tag 579, and Wilson Smith, tag 588. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, Grand Champion Breeding Heifer, Jacob Foreman, Breeder Smith Family Show Cattle. Reserve Champion, Jack Wilson, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. 3rd overall, Eliza Smith, Breeder Chase Jarman Show Cattle. 4th overall, Lillian Lane, Breeder Last Minute Show Cattle. And 5th overall, Braden Hazelbaker, Breeder Bogey Green Acres. We need Class 8 feeder heifers to be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Alex Boozum, tag 833, Brady Young, tag 472, Elizabeth Hauserman, tag 478, and Braden Hazelbaker, tag 888. Please be getting ready in the barn. Attention in the barn. We have a gray Volkswagen Tiguan with dealer tags behind the Holman's Arena. If you could please move it, a gray Volkswagen Tiguan with dealer tags. Entering the arena at this time is Class 7 feeder heifers. These exhibitors are Jacob Foreman, breeder Smith Family Show Cattle, Tanner Denton, breeder Denton Farm, Eli Jarman, breeder Hatfield Show Cattle, and Wilson Smith, breeder Grace Valley Farm. We need Class 8 feeder heifers to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Alex Bosom, tag 833, Brady Young, tag 472, Elizabeth Hauserman, tag 478, and Braden Hazelbaker, tag 888. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Class 9 feeder heifers can be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Jack Wilson, tag 496, Ty Young, tag 517, and Braylee Kirk, tag 545. Please be getting ready in the barn.
Real nice class of feeder heifers to start with. Again, real high quality. This peach colored one though is kind of the one that just grabs your eye. I think, she's got just an ultra cool look, but her quality, that color kind of grabs you, but her quality keeps you. I think that she's the one that when you get out of the motion, she's the one that wins the class pretty handily. She certainly stays more collected in her top. She stays more collected out to her hip. She's better at the ground, and I think those things are the things that make her surface. She's maybe not quite as just rugged and massive as our heifer that comes out in second in terms of her shape, but she's certainly got enough. This heifer comes in second. I love her standing still. I think she's just awfully good, and she's she's got some parts and pieces that we like quite well. When she gets in motion, though, she wants to tuck down her pin bones and put her tail head up, and it just makes her not quite as neat to look at. She's a little coarser about her shoulder as the heifer that wins the class, but that's a good pair of cattle. Real good heifer comes in third also, and I think this one, time will be her best friend, because as she gets like a little more maturity, I think she's going to blow apart in her forerib and just gives a little more push to her heart. I think she'll be more complete. The young man's heifer that comes out and completes the class is one that we like quite a bit from her shoulder back in terms of her length of body and her length of hip. As you look at her into her shoulder, she's just too upright in the way she's designed up to her shoulder. She wants to push out in her knee and just almost want to buck over, if you will. But, you know, again, a nice kind of heifer I think will be a good feeding one. Give them a good round of applause.
Entering the show arena at this time is Class 8 feeder heifers. These exhibitors are Alex Bosom, breeder Lane Bruin, Brady Young, breeder Young Cattle, Elizabeth Hauserman, breeder Snyder Family Show Cattle, and Braden Hazelbaker, breeder Smith Family Farms. We need Class 9 feeder heifers to be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Jack Wilson, tag 496, Ty Young, tag 517, and Braley Kirk, tag 545. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, Class 7, first place, Jacob Foreman, breeder Smith Family Show Cattle. Second place, Eli Jarman, breeder Hatfield Show Cattle. Third place, Tanner Denton, breeder Denton Farm. And fourth place, Wilson Smith, breeder Grace Valley Farm.
You know, you get these calves out here, and I think it'll be interesting as the week goes on, because, you know, they've probably only been here a day or two, and just a whole different surrounding for these cattle, and it's just a whole different thing for them. And I think they're going to probably change a lot. You're going to see these cattle get filled up a little differently in a couple of days, but that's a tough class to evaluate because I think there's 4 good cattle. I think you got to start putting pieces and parts of them together. This heifer's fighting this young man quite a bit. I bet you if she's turned out in a lot, though, things change a lot with her because she's just really built good. I think she's solid and stout made. I think she's got more rib shape. If we want to get real picky on her, I'd like to see her more flexible in her hock, but I think that's partly because she is fighting a halter so much. Young man's got one that just paints a really good picture. She also wants to get just a little too rigid in her movement. She needs to be more flexible. I need to deepen her up just a little bit. The heifer that comes out next is one that's just real basic in her build, very complete. She just doesn't have quite the muscle shape of those cattle above her. And the heifer that completes the class is another one. I think this one will change as much as any as the week goes on because I think once this young man's heifer quits fighting the halter quite so bad, she's going to get softer in the way she sets down on her back leg. But today, she's just too rigid in her movement. We need to flex her up, make her more fluid to get her up higher. Good class. Give them a good round of applause.
Entering the arena at this time is Class 9 feeder heifers. These exhibitors are Jack Wilson, breeder Hatfield Cattle, Ty Young, breeder Young's Cattle Farm, and Braley Kirk, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Congratulations, Class 8. First place, Braden Hazelbaker, breeder Smith Family Farms. Second place, Brady Young, breeder Young Cattle. Third place, Elizabeth Hauserman, breeder Snyder Family Show Cattle. And fourth place, Alex Bosom, breeder Lane Bruin. We need first place from classes 7 and 8 to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Class 7, first place, Jacob Foreman. Class 8, first place, Braden Hazelbaker. We also need second place from those classes to be making their way outside the show arena.
This is an interesting class, and again, I think 3 real high-quality feeder heifers, and I guess, there's a little sword in these cattle because, what I'm trying to do is, when I'm looking at these 3 heifers, is try to predict a little bit kind of what I think they're going to look like next year at this time, and I feel like this heifer, wins the class. Again, I say combination and just balance a lot as I'm sorting cattle. She's so eye-appealing and just so balanced up, neat. I love this heifer in her undercarriage from her chest back to her flank. She's got just a real ultra feminine look, but yet still got a deceiving amount of power. When you get behind this one, she's got more shape than I thought she did when I first walked in, or when she first walked in, I thought, well, this one's just real cute and real cool looking. But, I thought maybe there wasn't quite as much product in her. But when you get behind her and you study her, she's big old topped and got some shape. A big topped one and probably a more masculine heifer is our heifer that comes in second. She doesn't line up quite as neatly down through her hock and through the way she comes down to the ground. I'd soften her up in her tail head and just make that sit down in her pin set a little nicer, but you sure gotta like just the massive amounts of muscle that she has. She looks like to me she's gonna be one a little quicker maturing. Then a young man's heifer that completes a class, this one's got better days ahead of her. I'll promise you folks, young man, I feel bad that you're third in this class because that's a high quality heifer that's got a lot of muscle. She's got some body shape. She's got enough length aside. Her problem today is she's a little coarser shouldered. She doesn't blend into her forerib quite as nicely as those 2 above her. Really, probably as good a class as we've had today in terms of overall quality. Give them a nice round of applause.
Entering the arena at this time is all first place winners from classes 7 to 9. These exhibitors are Class 7, Jacob Foreman, Breeder Smith Family Cattle. Class 8, Braden Hazelbaker, Breeder Smith Family Farms, and Class 9, Jack Wilson, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. Braden Hazelbaker, please be making your way inside the show arena at this time. We need second place winners from Class 7 to 9 to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Class 7, second place, Eli Jarman, Breeder Hatfield Show Cattle. Class 8, second place, Brady Young, Breeder Young Cattle. And Class 9, second place, Braley Kirk, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. Congratulations, Class 9. First place, Jack Wilson, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. Second place, Braley Kirk, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. And third place, Ty Young, Breeder Young Cattle Farm. Jack Wilson, please be making your way into the show arena at this time. At this time, we'd like to thank our grand sponsors for the night. These people and businesses are Cherry Fork Farm Supply, Liming Limousine Cattle, Shinkle Farms, Snyder Family Show Cattle, R.M. Armstrong Crop Insurance, and Trading Post Tavern. Please give them a round of applause.
as we get out here to select our champion feeder heifer, again, give these young folks, the breeders alike, and the exhibitors a nice round of applause. I think our numbers were down a little bit in our feeder heifers relative to the breeding heifers, but I think, again, we've had some high-quality ones, and, as I mentioned in that last class, I thought all three of those cattle were extremely good, and I think those kind are cattle that do well at any county fair in the state of Ohio, and I think you got three heifers out here that are highly competitive. They're obviously at different stages of maturity in their life, and we certainly realize that on these cattle, and don't know for sure when you had to have them by and all those things. And, this first heifer is probably pretty young, and so a couple of them probably haven't even been off the cow all that long. But, I think these are good quality cattle. I think that, that first one, that was a good class. That first pair was really tough. And I just thought this one was the one that excelled when she got out and went. I think she's got a little extra massive power. She's a little bigger shouldered than maybe another one that's out here. But, I think that's the kind of thing that one will build into, and just looks like one that's going to make a nice kind of a markety kind of a heifer on down the road. Real versatile, though, because she's got enough breeding parts and pieces that I think she'll be really versatile. This grayish smoke-colored heifer is an interesting one, because I see good things, and she certainly, as she comes back out here, I think she got out and went a little better. I'd like to see her a little softer in her hock and give her a little more flex, a little more athleticism. But as you get back and you read this heifer, she looks like one that she's kind of taking the trip to town a little bit harder. She's a little harder and a little sucked in more in her flank and in her just in her chest and out through her heart. But I think that one's got good parts and pieces because she's got so much mass and power. This young man's the red heifer that come out. I think, when you talk about them in terms of just balance and look, that one just grabs you because she is so silhouetted. When you get away from her and you look at her, she's really good in her lines. Is she the most powerful one? Probably not. Does she have enough power? That's up for you to decide, but honestly, today it's for me. I'll go show you the ones that I like. Give them a good round of applause. Really a good class of feeder heifers.
Congratulations, Grand Champion Feeder Steer Jack Wilson, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. We need Class 9 second place Braylee Kirk to be making her way inside the show arena. Also, we will be doing a break between feeder steers and feeder heifers to be giving out the Cattlemen Awards. It'll be about a 20-minute break between the feeder steers and after the feeder heifers, before the feeder steers. Class 9, third place, Ty Young, Breeder Young Cattle Farm. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, Reserve Champion Feeder Heifer, Jacob Foreman, Breeder Smith Family Show Cattle. We need Class 7, second place, Eli Jarman, to be making your way inside the show arena. Class 7, third place, Tanner Denton. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, third overall feeder heifer, Eli Jarman, Breeder Hatfield Show Cattle. We need Class 7 third place, Tanner Denton, to be making your way inside the show arena. Congratulations, fourth overall feeder heifer, Braden Hazelbaker, Breeder Smith Family Farms. We need second place, Brady Young, to be making your way inside the show arena. All other exhibitors may head back to their pens. Congratulations, fifth overall breeding heifer, Braley Kirk, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. We need all county born and raised cattle exhibitors to be making their way inside the show arena at this time. All county born and raised cattlemen exhibitors, please make your way inside the show arena at this time. Congratulations, Grand Champion Feeder Heifer, Jack Wilson, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. Reserve Champion Feeder Heifer, Jacob Foreman, Breeder Smith Family Show Cattle. Third overall Feeder Heifer, Eli Jarman, Breeder Hatfield Show Cattle. Fourth overall Feeder Heifer, Braden Hazelbaker, Breeder Smith Family Show Cattle. And fifth overall, Braley Kirk, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. Attention in the barn. All county born and raised beef show exhibitors need to be making their way to the arena. Again, all county born and raised beef exhibitors need to be making their way to the middle of the arena. Also, can Patricia Smith and Mary Hatfield please come to the arena?
At this moment, we'd like to announce our 2024 scholarship winner. First, we would like to thank all of the workers and everybody who donated their time to make this show go on. And we'd also like to thank all of our sponsors who help us continue to do this every year. This year, we were able to start a tradition that we hope to continue on for the rest of the years. We're going to present this scholarship, and this year's winner is Emma Brandenburg.
Emma will be attending Morehead State University studying animal sciences. Please give her a great big round of applause. Making their way to the arena at this time should be Class 10 feeder steers. These exhibitors are Tucker Denton, breeder Bogey Green Acres, Walker Denton, breeder Bogey Green Acres, Braden Jones, breeder 4C Cattle, and Ellie Mae Hazel Baker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Now entering the arena at this time is Class 10 feeder steers. These exhibitors are Tucker Denton, breeder Bogey Green Acres, Walker Denton, breeder Bogey Green Acres, Braden Jones, breeder 4C Cattle, and Ellie Mae Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Ellie Mae Hazelbaker, you have 3 minutes to make your way inside the show arena. We need Class 11 feeder steers to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Ella Carlier, Hunter Carlier, Eva Doyle, Ian McClanahan, Sadie Woofer, and Eli Jarman. We need Class 12 feeder steers to be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Madeline Royce, tag 571, Tegan Tislin, tag 595, Riley Gregg, tag 398, Braden Hatfield, tag 460, and Noah Bromson, tag 586. Please be getting ready in the barn.
Nice class of feeder steers here to get off started with. I think we got a pretty logical place to start here. Young lady's calf is this again the one that he's got more power than anything in the class. He's certainly sounder when he gets out and goes. And as you read him into a fat steer, I think he'll be the one that'll stay truest in his type and kind. He's just a big old burly backed one that's got shape. He's got some muscle. Looks like he's got some feedability to him. The next calf, this black and white one, is really a nice profiling calf. He's super good in his lines. He's made pretty good at the ground, and then you follow him up. He's square enough built with still enough shape. Pretty green, and I think that one's going to have better days ahead. I love the angle to his shoulder, though, and just the way he's shaped out over his hip. He had a notch more middle to him, and maybe just a little more flexible off those rear two. He might give that first one a little more run for his money. The silver-colored calf here's got some unique parts. Really, really long-necked, and still got a lot of muscle to him. He's real green in his type and kind. He gets a little coarser right behind his shoulder today. I'd like to see him set down on his rear two with a little more athleticism to get him higher. And the calf that completes the class is one I like pretty well standing still. From his hip forward, he's off awfully good. He's built really, really nice. He comes out of his shoulder high. He's a calf that's pretty good in his angles. He wants to get just too rigid in his hock, and he wants to get real straight in that back leg when he gets out and goes. I'd like to see him just more fluid, more athletic, more freedom when he gets out, travels. But a nice calf to complete a good class. Give him a good round of applause if you would.
Now entering the show arena is Class 11 feeder steers. These exhibitors are Ella Carlier, breeder Osborne Farms, Hunter Carlier, breeder Carlier Farm, Ava Doyle, breeder Rob Doyle, Ian McClanahan, breeder McClanahan Ranch, Sadie Woofer, breeder Woofer Family Farm, and Eli Jarman, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. We need Class 12 feeder steers to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Madeline Royce, tag 571, Tegan Tislin, tag 595, Riley Gragg, tag 398, Braden Hatfield, tag 460, and Noah Bromson, tag 586. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, Class 10 feeder steers. First place, Ellie Mae Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Second place, Walker Denton, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Third place, Tucker Denton, breeder Bogey Green Acres. And fourth place, Braden Jones, breeder Forsey Cattle. We need Class 13 feeder steers to be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Tanner Perrin, tag 415, Clint Dollemeyer, tag 501, Braden Hatfield, tag 465, Kylie Bosom, tag 869, and Braden Hazelbaker, tag 880. Please be getting ready in the barn. Our photographer today is Megan Rell. She's from Lindy's. All of the pictures from tonight will be on Lindy's website. It'll be on Megan's website, sorry. And all pictures are free of charge for all Cattlemen's. That's part of like the gift from Cattlemen's Association.
Another good class of feeder steers here. I think the one that wins kind of does so pretty handily, and just in terms of the way he puts everything together, I think, again, he's balanced really good at the ground. He comes up, he's got enough power in his chest, and he's big ribbed and big bodied, and still, I like him when I get behind him and study him out over his top. He's got a decided advantage when you get right behind his shoulder, when you're looking at him from a 3/4 or when you're all the way behind him. He's got the added advantage of just having more completeness from his spine, from his shoulder into his spine, and I think that's what sets him apart. Good pair of steers here at coming second and third, and I guess I'd like to maybe tone this one down in his frame size, but I think when you get right up on these two steers, you study him, he's better in his heart, he's he comes out of his shoulder a little neater. Probably the thing that really sets him apart from the black and white steers, when you get behind him, you analyze him out through his hip and down low. He's a lot deeper in his twist. He's got large shape down low, and I just find him to be one that I think today I find him to fit in that second hole. The young lady steer, the black and white one, sets a really good picture. I like his presentation. The young lady gets him stuck really nicely. I think that calf has got good days ahead of him. I think if he blows apart in his forerib, I think he's going to get just awfully nice. If he had just a little more notches shape, like the one right above him, I'd probably move him up and it'd be a little closer at second and third. The next pair of steers are an interesting pair. The next steer, I just found him to be the one that I thought would probably be a steer that would be easier to feed. He's got just a little more rib shape. He's got more natural muscle when you get behind him. He's bigger topped. He's squarer out through his, in terms of just the way he's made. In terms of his pin width, he's just wider built, wider. He's got more skeleton and more power to him. A steer that comes out, this black steer, this young lady's, really good in his lines, extremely good in his hip. He's long and level-sided. He's good in his shoulder. He's too flat-sided compared to those cattle above him. He needs to just get more oomph to him, and I think that'll happen as time goes on. He's much like the silver steer, completes the class. This one's pretty basic in his build, not a whole lot of problems. Just he's a little, in terms of his condition right now, he just doesn't have quite that extra power and mass that we'd like to see. Put that one on feed for another 60, 90 days. I think he changes quite a bit. Good class of calves. Give him a good round of applause.
Entering the arena at this time is Class 12 feeder steers. These exhibitors are Madeline Royce, breeder Talby Family Cattle, Tegan Tislin, breeder Tislin Farms, Riley Gregg, breeder Osborne Farms, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle, and Noah Brumson, breeder Bromson Farm. Class 13 feeder steers will be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Tanner Perrin, tag 415, Clint Dollemeyer, tag 4501, Braden Hatfield, tag 465, Kylie Bosom, tag 869, and Braden Hazelbaker, tag 880. Please be making your way outside the show arena. We need Class 14 feeder steers to be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Aubrey Hatfield, tag 529, Henry Gray, tag 818, Emma Gibson, tag 431, William Birdshaw, tag 435, and Tucker Denton, tag 575. Please be getting ready in the barn. Congratulations, Class 11. First place, Eli Jarman, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. Second place, Hunter Collier, breeder Collier Farm. Third place, Ella Collier, breeder Osborne Farms. Fourth place, Eva Doyle, breeder Rob Doyle. Fifth place, Sadie Wolfer, breeder Wolfer Family Farms. And sixth place, Ian McClanahan, breeder McClanahan Ranch.
got another really good class of feeder steers, and I think really the top three of those steers are real good, and they're just different in their type. This one's the most complete, I guess, today. He's the one that you just kind of look at and say, well, that one is the one that came to play the best today. I mean, he's very complete and very well balanced. I think that's probably the biggest thing about him. He blends from his shoulder into his forerib extremely nice. He's got an extra notch of power down his top when you get behind him. You know, if you want to get real picky on this one, you maybe free him up just a little bit off those front two, but I think he's just fighting the halter a little bit, and I think that one certainly sound enough because he's right in his angles and his joint work is good. This one's intriguing. This calf is this white spotted one. I think that he's got some really good parts and pieces. He's a little bigger and more masculine about his shoulder. I mean, you're going to always hear that if they got a big front, they're going to have a big rear end, and it's hard to get those two things to not work together. He needs more time. I think if that steer gets blown apart in his forerib and then blends into his shoulder a little better, I think that one's going to be one that'll be nice to watch down the road because he is a good calf. This next steer is one that you like quite a bit, standing still. You get him in motion, he gets really awkward on those rear two. He doesn't want to set down on his hock just exactly right. He wants to throw his knee in when you watch him walk away from you. Then a calf that the young lady's having such a fight with here is real long-bodied. He's extended in his framework. I need to give him more center dimension. The same goes for the calf that completes the class. Really long-bodied, long-hipped one, long-necked. He needs to just get shuffled down in terms of his frame size, give him a little more base width, and then give him a little more center dimension, and you move him up a little bit. Good class. Give him a nice round of applause if you would.
Entering the show arena at this time is Class 13. These exhibitors are Tanner Perrin, breeder Tyler Perrin, Clint Dollemeyer, breeder Creekview Farm, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle, Kylie Bosom, breeder Mike Borscher, and Braden Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Congratulations, Class 12. First place, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Second place, Tegan Tislin, breeder Tislin Farms. Third place, Madeline Royce, breeder Talby Family Cattle. Fourth place, Riley Gregg, breeder Osborne Farms. And fifth place, Noah Bromson, breeder Bromson Farm. We need Class 14 feeder steers to be making their way outside the show arena at this time. These exhibitors are Aubrey Hatfield, tag 529, Henry Gray, tag 818, Emma Gibson, tag 431, William Birdshaw, tag 435, and Tucker Denton, tag 575. Please be making your way outside the show arena. Class 15 feeder steers, please be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Clint Dollemeyer, tag 444, Braden O'Hearn, tag 516, Wyatt Woofer, tag 467, Wyatt Woofer, tag 401, and Sadie Woofer, tag 858. Please be getting ready in the barn.
Wow, really good pair of steers and really a good class of calves. But an awfully good pair of steers on the top end. And, I just tell you how I see him, and I think there's just some differences in them. And as I project these cattle this time next year, I just think this black steer is the one that's going to be a really easy feeding one. He is so true in his design and his build. He's certainly better when you put him in motion. He comes off his front end just so much neater. He's got more structural correctness to his front 1/3. He's better in his shoulder. But I think you add that to the way that steer goes back into his top, and his center portion of his body is still really good. The steer that's in second is presented to a high degree. He's got that cool look, and the way he's marked up those spots, you kind of get gathered into him. But I think when you start really reading this calf, I think when he stands still, you see him from his shoulder back. You got to love the depth of rib that he has and the shape that he has. He's a shorter hipped one. He's a shorter sided one that wins a class. My decided thing, though, is when we put him in motion. I need to make him just a little freer out of both ends relative to the steer that completes the class. This is a good calf in third, and I think one that's got real good days ahead of him because he is so good in his genuine structure design, long neck, long body, long hip. He just needs more time. I think that one gets barked up, gets some more condition on him. I think this young man's going to have an awfully good project. This next calf that just lost his halter, you just dropped part of your halter, young man, is one that's pretty cool in his look. Again, he's one that he gets a little more rigid in his top line as he gets on the go. We'd like to flatten him out through his loin, make him softer in his build. He moves up a line. Then the calf that completes the class is one, he's the flatter sided one. He's a narrow chested one. I think just in terms of his build, he's got good parts and pieces. He needs more time on feed to get him to move up a few spots, but a good class. Give him a good round of applause.
Entering the arena at this time is Class 14 feeder steers. These exhibitors are Aubrey Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle; Henry Gray, breeder Henry Gray; Emma Gibson, breeder Rob Lawball; William Birdshaw, breeder Osborne Farm; and Tucker Denton, breeder Bogey Green Acres. We need Class 15 feeder steers to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Clint Dollemeyer, tag 444, Braden O'Hearn, tag 516, Wyatt Woofer, tag 467, Wyatt Woofer, tag 401, and Sadie Woofer, tag 858. Congratulations, Class 13, first place, Tanner Perrin, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. Second place, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Third place, Braden Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Fourth place, Clint Dollemeyer, breeder Creekview Farm. And fifth place, Kylie Bosom, breeder Mike Borscher.
I think we got a good class of steers here again, and I think this one for me sorts itself pretty handily. I think, this calf that wins this class is he's much like the calf in the last class in terms of his build and his type and his balance and his kind. I think, you read this one, he's appropriate in his type, he's appropriate in his size for this stage of the game. I think he's appropriate in his condition. I don't think he's overly fat, but I think he's got enough bark on him to really make him just blend in so well. Good in his shoulder, and he blends in again into his forerib so nicely. You put him in motion, he certainly excels the class just in terms of the freedom he gets out and goes really well. Here's a meat and potatoes kind of calf that comes in the second hole, and I think this one's got some real feedability to him. He's a little deeper chested. He's not quite as neat chested and neat necked as the one that wins the class, but boy, he comes out of the top side of his shoulder really high. He's got a little extra eye appeal. He's really good in his parts, and I think that one's going to be one that's going to be an exceptionally good feeding steer. The next young man steer is one that's just a little plainer in his build. He's got a nice top. He's really straight in his symmetry. I think he gets a little deeper if you could make him a little deeper from behind in terms of his twist and just give him a little more in his inner stifle and outer stifle. We like him a little better. Real nice bodied red steer that's real basic in his build, so true in his skeleton, but yet he just needs more muscle and more shape to compete with those cattle that are above him. The steer that comes out next is one when he stands still and gets relaxed, you like him pretty well. When he gets in motion, he gets more rigid in his top, he gets a little off in his loin, wants to tip down in his pin bones, but on a standstill, we like that one pretty well. Just needed more calf today. Good class, give him a round of applause.
Entering the arena at this time is Class 15 feeder steers. These exhibitors are Clint Dollemeyer, breeder Hatfield Cattle, Braden O'Hearn, breeder Hatfield Cattle, Wyatt Woofer, breeder Woofer Farms, Wyatt Woofer, breeder Woofer Farms, and Sadie Woofer, breeder Woofer Family Farms. Congratulations, Class 14. First place, Aubrey Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Second place, Emma Gibson, breeder Rob Lawball. Third place, William Birdshaw, breeder Osborne Farm. Fourth place, Henry Gray, breeder Henry Gray. And fifth, we need all first place from class 10 through 14 to be making your way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Class 10, Ellie Mae Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Class 11, Eli Jarman, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. Class 12, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Class 13, Tanner Perrin, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. And Class 14, Aubrey Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Please be making your way outside the show arena.
Again, I think a real high-quality class of calves, and I think even to the young lady that's down here in the fifth hole, I think these cattle got some good to them all. I think that we just got to start sorting. I think this top pair, though, sort themselves to the top pretty easily. I said to this young man, maybe we can get this one broke, and he said that he's been up for a long time, and he's fighting the halter, but I think when you put him and get him stopped, I think he easily becomes your class winner in terms of his symmetry, his balance, and his build. He's very complete in his makeup. Again, one that it comes out of his shoulder, nice, blends into his forearm so good. I think he's really square out through his hip. When he gets stopped and young man gets him parked, his tail head sets down and his pin set really good. He's real deep in his twist and deep in his stifle, and that's what sets him apart from the steer in second one. The calf in second is a tremendously deep-bodied one. I like that about him. He wants to get disc hocked in as you watch him go away from you. He's fighting the halter a little bit himself, but I think just in terms of his build, he needs to fall in that second hole. The third steer is a little slicker-haired one that's got some good parts and pieces. Young man's got a little problem though, because you know when they're slick like this, you can't really hide anything. But you get behind this when you like the power over his top. He's got some genuine muscle and genuine shape. He's coarser about his shoulder though, relative to those first two. The black and white steer, really long-bodied, gets just a little more piecey. He needs to be softer at the ground. As you watch him go, he needs to be more athletic and more fluid in his build. Then our young lady's calf that completes a class. This one's good. I mean, this is a good steer because he's really good in his lines. He's a calf that we just need to give him a little more shape today. Chisel a little off his chest, I think, to make him more eye appealing. But you know, that's a good steer to stand in a really good class. I think he'll be a nice fat feeding one for this young lady. Give him a good round of applause. Good class of steers.
Entering the arena at this time is all first place winners from classes 10 through 15. These exhibitors are Class 10, Ellie Mae Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Class 11, Eli Jarman, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. Class 12, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Class 13, Tanner Perrin, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. Class 14, Aubrey Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. And Class 15, Wyatt Wolfer, breeder Wolfer Farms. We need second place winners from class 10 through 15 to be making their way outside the show arena. At this time, we would like to thank our supreme sponsors. These businesses and people are Southern Ohio Equipment Services, Higgins Steel Roofing, Jarman's Boutique and Greenhouse, Kramer Myers and Waring Dickerson Insurance, Kubota Tractor of the Tri-State LLC, Last Minute Show Cattle, Robinson Cattle Co., True Cut Construction, and Young Cattle. Please give them a round of applause.
Again, I'd like to ask you folks ringside, I know it's been a pretty long evening and it gets a little drawn out when we have awards and pictures and things of that nature, but these kids have done an awfully good job, and please commend them, because they've brought a nice group of feeder steers out for us tonight. Again, I think the breeders should be commended, because I think this is an outstanding group of feeder steers, and in terms of the quality, it's really good. And I think, these calves, probably some of them, this is the first time they've been out. They're probably going to, you got the first show ring jitters, and I think they're going to probably get better as they go and as the week goes, and they find out that this is not a bad place to be. And just to comment some briefness on our calves that we have out here. The calf that won that first class, I just love that one in terms of his build. He's a greener one out here compared to some of them, but boy, you can see a lot of true muscle and true shape in him. Look how long-hipped he is. I mean, he is tremendously long-hipped. He's long-bodied, but still carries some depth from his forerib back to his flank. I like that about him. He's a nickel awkward off his rear too, and I think that's a little bit because he's fighting the halter of some when he gets out and goes, but the young lady gets him stuck, and I just think that one's really got a great future to him. This white-footed one that stands behind him, he's a big muscle, big top, big hipped one that you sure see some good parts. He's not quite as hairy as some of the other ones, so he doesn't have quite that pizzazz, but if you get right on top of this calf and you start reading him in trueness that he has in just terms of shape and muscle, he's really big-topped and big-ended, and I like that about him. He's a calf that's fluid when he gets out and goes. He sets down pretty adequate off both ends and both corners. He's really square built. A little bigger shoulder than maybe a couple of the other ones, but that probably doesn't bother me, because I think he's going to feed into it. This yellow calf's got the look from the side that you appreciate, because he is balanced up, very neat. He's very complete. As I talked about him in that particular class, and don't get me wrong, I think this is a good one. If we can make him just a little more fluid off those front two, maybe give him just a little more push and a little more push off those rear two, we like him even better, because he does have the added extra muscle. He's got the added extra shape to his top, blends into his shoulder and his foreribs so nice. This pair of steers in these next two classes are very similar in my mind, in the fact that they're cattle that have some really completeness to them. They're cattle that are built good at the ground. They're cattle that can go out and go. They got some muscle. They got some true look, and they are really eye appealing and balanced up. Just a little different version of where they're at in their maturity level. The calf the young man has is maybe not quite as mature as the one behind him. He's probably not quite as old. I don't know for sure, but as you read him, boy, that one's got a lot of future to him, because he's got so much eye appeal. He's so good and so true at the ground. You just have to like those things about him. You want to start nitpicking on him, maybe he's just a nickel off right behind his shoulder, but it's been a long day. He's probably getting a little more relaxed. I think that's an awfully good one. That's going to be an awfully good feeding steer. Young lady steer that's making a turn now, very, very complete. You like this one in terms of his completeness. You look at him at the ground and you like him in his angles. He's good in his pastern. He's good as he comes up. He's not overwhelmingly wide when you get behind him in terms of his muscle, but he is so big-topped and square-hipped and square-topped that he's certainly adequate in that. He looks like one that's going to be super easy to feed, super fun to show, presented in a high degree. Just a nice calf, a good pair right there in the center. Young man's calf actually comes out of that last class. I like him better now than I did in his class, because he's finally figured it out. He's getting his top down. The steer's really kind of level out through his hip. He's big top. Again, I thought that was the one, and just in terms of muscle and sheer power, he had to win that class. And as I said, as he comes out here, he kind of grows on me. It's been a good class, been good division here. Certainly some calves that Kelly and I wouldn't mind having. Honestly, we sell show steers also, and so I kind of look at it from that standpoint of if we had them in our barn, which one would we ask the most for? So I put all that in perspective. Again, pleasure's been mine. Thanks for letting me evaluate your feeders, and good luck on down the fair. I'll go show you the top 5. Give them another nice round of applause.
Congratulations, Grand Champion Feeder Steer Aubrey Hatfield, Breeder Hatfield Cattle. We need Class 14 second place, Emma Gibson, to be making her way into the show arena. Class 14 third place, William Birdshaw, please be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, reserve champion feeder steer Tanner Perrin, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. We need Class 13 second place, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle, to be making his way into the show arena. We need Class 13 third place, Braden Hazelbaker, to be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, third overall feeder steer, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. We need Class 12 second place, Tegan Tislin, to be making his way inside the show arena at this time. We need Class 13 Class 12 third place, Madeline Royce, to be making your way outside the show arena. Congratulations, fourth overall, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. We need Class 13 third place, Braden Hazelbaker, to be making your way inside the show arena. All other exhibitors may go back to their pen. Braden Hazelbaker, you have 2 minutes to be making your way inside the show arena. Judge, this is your class. Congratulations, 5th overall feeder stealer, Ellie Mae Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres. We need Class 16 market beef to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Braden O'Hearn, tag 498, Aubrey Baston, tag 836, Braden O'Hearn, tag 814, and Mary Bird, tag 466. Please be making your way outside the show arena. We also need Class 17 market beef to be getting ready in the barn. These exhibitors are Stacy Arthur, tag 568, Wyatt Whooper, tag 485, and Olivia Liming, tag 592. Please be getting ready in the barn. Congratulations, Grand Champion Feeder Steer Aubrey Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Reserve Champion Tanner Perrin, breeder Tyler Perrin Show Cattle. 3rd overall, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. 4th overall, Braden Hatfield, breeder Hatfield Cattle. And 5th overall, Ellie Mae Hazelbaker, breeder Bogey Green Acres.
Thank you, sir. How great thou art. I bought the cow off the way. She did daddy's money.
We have the breeding heifer banners up at the show arena at this time. So if you got top 5 for breeding heifer, please make your way to the show arena to get your banner.
Hey, shake his hand. It's a nice job. Always fun. black one's not getting there. She's a maternal maid bankroll. She's half is the thing with pedigree.
Schubert did a better job, and he was drunk.
Entering the show arena at this time is Class 16 Market Beef. These exhibitors are Braden O'Hearn, breeder Kirk Farms, Aubrey Baston, breeder Fontaine Cattle, Braden O'Hearn, breeder Kirk Farms, and Mary Bird, breeder Hatfield Cattle. We need Class 17 Market Beef to be making their way outside the show arena. These exhibitors are Stacy Arthur, tag 568, Wyatt Woofer, tag 485, and Olivia Liming, tag 592. Please be making your way outside the show arena.
I think we just got a couple of classes of these fat steers, and I think a pretty logical place for me to start. He's the most complete one. I think when you get a hold of him, he's a calf that feels the freshest in terms of his condition and the way he covers over those ribs. But I think most importantly is he's the one that's the soundest built. He's the best structured one we have out here, and I just think that he comes to the top pretty easily. Now, a big, powerful one here is got a lot of genuine, true shape and muscle to him. He's not quite as neat and flexible off either end. We need to change this one out through his front shoulder. We need to change him and just make him not so rigid the way he comes off those front two. But I just like the muscle and the power in this guy. When you get a hold of him, he's got enough condition, enough cover, he'll certainly grade. The steer that comes out next is another one that's much like him, a tremendously big barreled one. I like that. I bet this one was a pretty easy one to feed. He's big topped and he got some muscle and got some mass. He's just not quite as neat a package when you look at him out through his hip, and then I just maybe change him in that regard. Steer completes the class is as good as any in terms of his build. He needs more shape. He needs a little more time. I like to make him a nickel deeper flank, but a calf that's awfully good in his look and his lines just needs a little more time. Good class of steers to start off with.
Entering the arena at this time is Class 17 Market Beef. These exhibitors are Stacy Arthur, breeder Talby Family Farms, Wyatt Woofer, breeder Bogey Green Acres, and Olivia Liming, breeder Liming Limousine. Congratulations, Class 16, first place Aubrey Baston, breeder Fontaine Cattle. Second place Mary Bird, breeder Hatfield Cattle. Third place, Braden O'Hearn, breeder Kirk Farms. And fourth place, Braden O'Hearn, breeder Kirk Farms.
I think this is the last class of steers, but I think this is a good trio of steers to kind of come down to the wire with. You know, there's differences in these first two, and I guess you know, you start picking them apart, and from this one's shoulder back, I just love him because he's so big bodied. I like him in terms of his balance and his makeup. Big top, and you get a hold of him, he doesn't disappoint you. You know, could he be a little neater off his front too? I think he probably could, but I think he's adequate because I don't know that the other one's got enough angulation to his shoulder to make him that much better, I guess. But both these steers, like, I think they get along adequately when you put them in motion. I think just when you look at this one in just terms of his balance, he wins the class. The next steer, I think, again, you like his length of body, but it takes away a little bit from him because he doesn't have quite that depth. He's not quite as neat in his cover today relative to the one that wins the class. He's a calf that's a little longer necked, I'll give you that. I'd just like to see him a nickel deeper flanked. When he gets out and goes, he wants to fight just ever so slightly, and he wants to get a little higher in his top and drop in his pins. So basically, you put him in motion, it's kind of a wash. Real nice feeding one is the steer that comes in third. I like him and his design. He just needs more muscle and more shape, more mass to get up over those first two show steers. Good class of steers to complete the day.
Entering the arena at this time is first place winners from Class 16 and 17. These exhibitors are Class 16, Aubrey Baston, Breeder Fontaine Cattle, Class 17, Wyatt Woofer, Breeder Bogey Green Acres. We need second place winners from Class 16 and 17 to be outside the arena at this time. These exhibitors are Class 16, second place, Mary Bird, Class 17, second place, Stacy Arthur. We also need third place from 16 and 17 to be outside the arena as well. The Cattlemen's Association still has shirts for sale on the back side of Woofer's trailer next to the picture backdrop if you would like to purchase a shirt.
Well, again, I said earlier that it's been a real pleasure to get asked to come here. You know, I can't tell you my age, but I know it's getting late. But this is the first place I ever showed one, and I think I rode a bull in a parade here, and maybe it was probably 1972, and that kind of got us hooked. And we raised Charolais cattle in between Richmond and Bethel for years and years, and you know, it's been cool to be back to Clermont County Fair, because I can remember when I used to try to bring one to win every class in whatever breed I was showing, and my mom and dad would just scratch their head and put up with my antics. But you know, it's been a pretty good life, because my wife and I, Kelly, who's here, that I don't know what we would do if we didn't have each other, because we were foolish enough to have multiple breeds. And so, you know, when I sort cattle, I try to just look at them on what we try to raise and what we try to do, and I don't expect everybody to agree with me, and that's fine, because that's what makes the world go round. I'll tell you this, I don't use big words. I use common cattle knowledge. I use common words to describe what I see, and hopefully it helps you just to try to understand how I view them and how I look at them. You know, it's been a fun day again. I appreciate the Clermont County Cattlemen's for putting on this event, because it's a big deal, and it helps them get to showcase what they're doing at their places. And you know, the thing about it is you know, these are very expensive projects to have. I mean, these calves cost quite a bit when they're sold the first time, and then, you know, these young folks have been feeding these things for a year or quite a number of months, and if you have to pay any feed bills, you know what that costs. So I guess the long and the short of that is, make sure that on sale day you support these kids, because they are absolutely the future of the United States, and as you all well know, we need future leaders, probably worse now than we ever have in the past. So I encourage you to support these kids because it means a lot. With that also, there's a lot of banners that you see hanging in these buildings, and these buildings are expensive to build and erect. Make sure you support those businesses that help support these kids because that's so very important. You know, our steer numbers haven't been real high. We've just had, I don't know, I think 8 maybe, but one thing about it, the quality was real good, and I think we're going to wind up with the top 5 that are certainly going to be cattle that are suitable. I think there'll be cattle that will be representative of your programs come later in the week. To me, though, you know, as we get these 2 class winners out, I think we have a pretty decided advantage on one that's just got the more power and more muscle. I'll go show you a top 5. Again, appreciate the invite, appreciate being here. Nice seeing a bunch of old friends and folks, and it's nice to visit with some of you ringside. Congratulate them once again. I'll go show you my top 5.
Congratulations, Grand Champion Market Beef Wyatt Woofer, breeder Bogey Green Acres. Entering the arena at this time is Stacy Arthur, breeder Talby Family Farms. We need Class 17 third place Olivia Liming to be making her way outside the show arena. Congratulations, Reserve Champion Market Beef Stacy Arthur, breeder Talby Family Farm. We need Olivia Liming, breeder Liming Limousine, to be making her way inside the show arena. Congratulations, third overall Market Beef, Aubrey Baston, breeder Fontaine Cattle. We need Mary Bird, breeder Hatfield Cattle, to be making her way inside the show arena at this time. We need Class 16 third place Braden O'Hearn to be making his way outside the show arena. Congratulations, fourth overall Market Steer, Mary Bird, breeder Hatfield Cattle. We need Braden O'Hearn, breeder Kirk. Never mind, you can go back to your pen. Congratulations, fifth overall Olivia Liming, breeding Limousine